Frankly, I was surprised when Reagan chose me to be his running mate. A lot of people had run in the primary. I was kind of the last man standing. I didn't know Reagan well, but I was impressed with him, liked the man, and so was very flattered and pleased that he invited me to be on the ticket with him. It was alleged to me he's the resume candidate and ridiculed for it. But in the final analysis, I think it helped me to have had a variety of experiences in the elective and appointed branches of government. There wasn't any discussion about it. We didn't need to go into any detail about it. And the rest is history. We got along fine. A lot of his people around him were suspicious of me, but he wasn't. Once he chose me, he was fully supported. It was very easy for me to give him unequivocal support and not to have him think I was out there plowing my own furrow, out there making my own agenda, which is the worst thing a vice president can do. I remember distinctly when Reagan was shot. I was in Texas, I was in Fort Worth, and we got the word that the president had been shot. Nobody knew how serious it was. I got a call from, I think it was Al Haig, filling me in on the details. I knew the thing to do was to stop what I was doing and come back to Washington and not act like I was president. But so one of the things they talk about is I didn't land my helicopter at the White House, which would have sent the signal that, well, this new guy, this vice president, is running like he's president. And so we went and landed out at the VP place, drove down there, and then conducted meetings to determine how the president was, assure people that things were going to go forward. So it was a time for calmness. It was a time for not to panic. It was a time to reassure the country by acting normally. The vice presidency has evolved over the years as something important, but not constitutionally. You go up and break a tie vote in the Senate, or you can preside over the Senate. But it's not a power position per se. The only power you got is what the president says you should have. That's all. We had advisors, but we never set up a separate, State Department in my office, or a separate Defense Department, or separate environment. And the power the vice president gets comes from the president. That's all. And all these other things about, well, you're going to do this or do that. You're not going to do this or do that if the president doesn't want you to. And so I was very happy when he said to me, well, you be in charge of deregulation, or you ought to go out and help on the national security issues. So there were things for me to do, but it wasn't that I was out deciding what the agenda would be. It was Reagan's agenda. He'd say, how about having lunch? And then we did it again the next week, and then we got a thing on the agenda, on the schedule. I forget what day of the week it was. And very informal. There was no agenda. People would come to me, oh, you're going to see the president. You can tell him this or give him this memo. Well, I didn't do that. I said, no, this is a private matter. And I think that built the confidence in him that I wasn't there to try to use him. I learned a lot, traveled a lot around the world, met many world leaders, got to understand the world as it really is, not as from some textbook standpoint. And so the 8 years I had as vice president were extraordinarily helpful to me intellectually and experience-wise. Well, I don't know, I hate the L word. I don't like the word legacy. And people talk about it to me. And we have people, what are we going to do to get your legacy going? How are we going to have the real legacy? My view is let historians, let Smithsonian have a part in it. Let the historians decide. Maybe as my mother taught me that. The big I am, George. Nobody likes the big I am. And you ought to just in my case, let the historians decide.